Most routines don't fail because we're lazy or unmotivated. They fail because we try to install a whole new personality before we even have breakfast. Today, we're building a routine that does not depend on waking up motivated. We're going to use a trick called habit stacking to make one action naturally lead to the next. So, on our last episode on Monday, we talked about turning our goals into bite-sized steps that we can do in just 2 minutes. That's the 2-minute rule from Atomic Habits. One example that we mentioned was thinking more positively and pulling a quick fortune from my jar of old fortune cookie fortunes. So, we're going to stick to that habit and stack it onto another one that I already do, which is starting this stream. So, let's see what we get today. This one is do your duty without being supervised. So don't rely on somebody else to micromanage you or make sure that what you need to do gets done. Do it because you know that it's the right thing to do. I love that. So that right there is an example of habit stacking. If you're new here, my name is Melon and I'm with the Vitality Social Network. Welcome back to our morning series that we do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday called Morning Reset. Go ahead and grab your coffee or your water or your tea, whatever your comfy morning beverage is, and take a sip or take a deep breath with me. Helps the nerves a little bit to take the breath, that's for sure. If you like this series, I'm going to challenge you to help me achieve a goal. So 10 likes will unlock the next episode. So if we hit 10 likes, that shows me that you actually like this content, you're into it, you want me to keep doing it, it's helping you. So if you do like it, please like it. And you could even go so far as sharing it with a friend or a family member that would benefit from this type of content as well, so they can join the journey with us. And I'm really excited for us to keep going, but before we jump in, I want to ask anybody here, whether you're here in the live or you're joining us on the replay, do you currently have a productive morning routine, or do you do something different every single day and figure it out as you go? So maybe you can type routine, or you can type random, or maybe you're in a stage of rebuilding your momentum, and that's okay too. Just let me know where you're at so I can figure out what type of people we have joining us. Maybe you're somebody that I could learn from on my journey. I have been reading the Atomic Habits series. It's a #1 bestseller. I started it maybe about 2 years ago, and I decided to bring it back into action because I really believed in the concepts, but I wasn't doing so hot at actually applying them to my life. So I figured maybe it would be a productive thing to do it as a group journey. So what I mean by that is every time I read a new concept, I figure out how I can apply it to my life the next day, and then I'm sharing those tips with you all so that we can try it together. So I am definitely open to your feedback if you're someone that already has a productive morning routine, or if you're somebody that is like me, maybe you struggle a little bit with ADHD brain, you're trying to start 40 new projects at once and it's hard to stick to something consistently, then you need a real strategy in order to make it stick over time. So that's what we're focused on, which is really just setting ourselves up for success so we can become the person that we want to become. Me personally, I have a lot going on, and so I'm just trying to be 1% better every single day. That's something that is manageable, it's achievable, and from doing that, after a year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. Isn't that incredible? So all you have to do is make one small change every single day, and after a year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. So you can pat yourself on the back if your one step was just joining the stream this morning. Thank you for being here, especially my family that I love and supports me. You mean everything to me right now, so thank you so much for your support. And another quick step that you could take is maybe trying the habit stacking. So you naturally drink your coffee in the morning. So that's your existing habit. And then you pull your fortune or your positive intention, and that's the new habit that you stack to it. So you're already going to do this easily. You do it every morning without even thinking. You need it to get you going. So you just leave your fortune cookie jar right next to your coffee, and then you'll think, oh, yeah, that's the natural next step. While I sip my coffee, I'm going to pull my fortune and drink that. So that's an example of habit stacking, the concept that we're talking about today. It basically just means attaching a new behavior with something that you already do automatically. And the existing behavior comes the cue for the next one. So we've talked a lot about our cues, our environment setting us up for success. Basically, the formula is after I do my current habit, then I will do the new habit. So after I pour my coffee, I'm going to write my top priority in my journal today because I had my journal left sitting out by my coffee machine. Or after I brush my teeth, I will take my vitamins or I'll take my medicine. If you're like me, I have struggled to take my medicine every single day. Honestly, I forget it. So habit stacking was actually a critical process for me to remember it by just leaving it out next to something I already do naturally. So my brain is immediately cued and prompted to remember to take it. Another good one is just after I open my laptop and I get ready to start my workday, pause, take 3 intentional breaths, calm your mind, and then get started. So that way you choose how you want to start your day. You don't let the stress of life take over. Your current habit is the anchor, and the new habit does not have to just float around hoping that you remember it, right? We need to set ourselves up for success. So I'm going to write that on the whiteboard here just so we can make sure we remember that. And while I'm doing this, I would love for you to tell me what is one thing that you already do every single morning without even needing a reminder. What is that thing that comes naturally? So then we have on our whiteboard, just make sure you can see it. Great. All right. So existing habit, prompts the new habit. So it's a pretty simple concept. Like yesterday or Monday, we talked about the 2-minute rule. None of this is rocket science in order to put into place. It's just these little concepts that set you up for success. So it's kind of like after I blank, I will blank. It's that simple. A good anchor is going to be automatic, it's going to be specific, reliable, and then also located in your environment where the next habit needs to take place. So if you just say like after breakfast, that's vague. But if you say after I place my breakfast dish, my bowl of cereal in the sink, then I will clean it, right? You don't just leave it there in the sink. That's your next step. So it should be something that naturally makes sense. What is the next reasonable behavior that you need to take place? So if you just have an occasional action like sometimes I'm going to go to the gym, well, that's not a very dependable anchor, and it's much more likely that you're going to forget. So it helps to have a routine that you can remember consistently. So it might be after work, I go straight to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or on Monday, Wednesday, Friday before work, I join the morning reset series. So that could be an example of what it looks like. I actually want to share a personal example. So this was relevant for me in therapy this week. This is my actual daily routine that my therapist helped me come up with. So we pretty much spent time writing out what do I do naturally first thing in the morning? So I wake up and I immediately let the dogs out, and then I feel pretty good about myself if I make some kind of morning beverage. I feel like I'm taking care of my body or getting the energy that I need to continue. And then, what is the next reasonable step? Well, it might be something that I don't like to do naturally. I actually am not very good at remembering to brush my teeth. But that is the next reasonable step after I eat my breakfast or drink my coffee, right? So that's what I'm going to put into place. And then she added something simple, which was just take a breath, smile in the mirror, look at yourself, love yourself. Remember who you are, remember who you want to be. Then I'm going to get dressed for the day, put on deodorant and my clothes. And then she wrote, if you can see here, can't wear the same thing twice. That was something specific we talked about. So I had to be intentional on deciding what are my home clothes, what are my outside or work clothes, so I can distinguish between the two. And then every single day I have to remember it's a new day, so don't just wake up and wear whatever you slept in the whole day, even if you're working from home. Put on something new. Now that I'm doing this series, I can think intentionally, yeah, maybe people will notice if I'm wearing the same exact thing I wore on Monday. I better be on top of that, right? So that's where having these different habits can really make a big difference. And then all of that is done in 30 minutes. And it might not necessarily take 30 minutes to do that, but we wanted to give me plenty of time to succeed and to be able to take a breath and do it without rushing and stressing out and just throwing my clothes on and running out the door like I'm used to. So 30 minutes seemed reasonable, and then that means I'm getting up by 8 o'clock every day. My job doesn't always require me to start until 10, so to be honest with you, a lot of times getting up at 9:30 is a win. So now I'm trying to push myself a little bit earlier, and then the next step after getting dressed is at 8:30 to start my live stream or to begin my day. And then we also worked on doing the same thing for an evening routine. So if this is something that you're working on, it will help you to just plan out what one day looks like. What is a successful day for you? And how can you stack the habits one after another so that the next reasonable step comes easily, it's clear to you. We also talked about some things like in the evening. So, I get home by 7:30. I have a pretty long day when I go to work, and I'm immediately going to put my stuff down. Well, she challenged me to be a little bit more specific. That's very vague. Put your stuff down where? And let me tell you, it will end up in different places every single day if I don't have something specific. So I thought, all right, well, I can put my stuff down in my office, and at least everything goes there. I'm not scattering it around the house, right? And then after I'm done setting my things down in the office, I go get the dogs and I let them out. And while they're outside, I will make my dinner and eat my dinner. And then I told her, well, the next reasonable thing then is for me to decompress. I sit and eat my dinner and I watch TV. I watch Supernatural, or like we're on 90 Day Fiance right now. It's hilarious. I've been thinking about doing a stream just about that. And then she said, no, if you start doing the thing that you love to do, that is your reward, you will be done. That is going to be the end of your routine. So after, instead of after I eat going right to TV, she said, go ahead and get in the shower. Go ahead and take a shower, because I told her I honestly don't love to shower. I don't love the energy it takes to stand. I don't love being wet. I don't love having to dry myself off. I mean, like weird little quirks, but it's the truth. So she said, go ahead and get in the shower, do the thing that you don't like to do. And then your next reasonable step after that is to put on your home clothes, put on your pajamas, make that switch in your brain. And after you do that, then you can reward yourself with TV. Oh, hey! Hi, Logan and Jordan. Thank you so much for joining. I love you guys so much. That's so sweet. I really appreciate you being here and watching me. You're the best. I wonder what this looks like for you guys. You probably just kind of like, your mom has probably built a natural morning routine for you. But I bet you're already more productive than I am as like a 30-year-old adult, to be honest with you. It probably helps you because you're like, I get up in the morning and then I eat breakfast and then I do this and get dressed and then I have 10 minutes of screen time and then I go to school, right? You guys have a busy day. I'm honestly really impressed with like how many activities you keep up with a day. So I'm literally with my therapist right now. I'm literally planning out what does one good day look like? How can I do this every single day without forgetting stuff? And then after 1 week, she'll be like, okay, pat yourself on the back. You lived like a normal person for a week. And then after that, we can start talking about, what days do you do specific things? Like on Monday you go to soccer, or on Friday you have basketball, or on Wednesday you clean your house and, you take care of yourself. So I have like a ton of other random responsibilities I'm trying to keep up with right now. So the more I can put it into a consistent routine, the less work my brain has to do to remember how to take care of myself, how to take care of my home and my family and be productive. It'll just come naturally if I start doing the same thing every day and in a natural order that is easy to remember. It won't be so hard for me to just be like, all right, I gotta take a step and get out of bed, and then I have to walk to the bathroom, and then I have to use the bathroom, and then I have to take my clothes off and put new clothes on, and then I'm like exhausted before I even get to work. So so I know this sounds kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's a silly concept for some, but for others, especially if you have ADHD or something like that, it really helps to put a process into place, right? So thank you for being here. I would love to hear if you have a consistent morning routine or if you do something different every single day. So yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned an example of a small one of habit stacking. So my alarm turns off. Do you immediately check your phone for the day, or do you wake up and your feet hit the floor and you're going, and then you turn around and you've already set your water up next to your bed, so you drink that first thing, and then you stretch a little bit, and then you write one priority for the day because you left your journal right next to your phone. Each action reduces the number of decisions that you have to make. So the routine begins carrying you, and you naturally become the person that you want to become. So we talked about before, like some people have a goal of, I want to lose weight, or I want to have a six pack or something. Well, that doesn't just like happen naturally overnight. So you have to become the type of person that achieves those goals naturally and with small changes. So like, I'm going to go for a walk every day. I'm going to switch my Coke for water. Those little things ultimately make a big impact. So that's why we started off saying we're trying to just be 1% better every day. So you can also just write out your plan and say something like, okay, what is the cue? Cue. What is the thing that I do naturally every single day? And then what's the next action? And then the next action, and then the next, and then I'm done. That's it. And if you can just repeat that over and over and over, and that's your like tiny starter version, then you build a habit. And then that's the progression that I'm going to be doing things every single day, and you just do it. You don't have to think too hard about it. So your first step could be maybe starting with like one routine zone. Your zone is in the morning when I wake up, or when I start my day at school or at work, or right after work, I'm going to do this, or right before bed, I'm going to do this. So you start with just kind of identifying that part of your day where you're already going to be like moving and doing something naturally. And then you can write your cue, and it could be more than one thing. It could be maybe up to 3 things that you already do in that window, especially if you're someone that, maybe you're already good at this and you're already doing the same thing every day, but you're trying to maybe learn a new skill. You want to learn how to be really good at the keyboard or really good at the saxophone. So you're trying to become a full-time musician. So you're going to have your morning routine of the thing that you already do naturally, and you're going to figure out when is a reasonable time that I can work in 2 minutes of practicing the keyboard. So that's what we talked about on Monday. Just start with 2 minutes. That's a success. Pat yourself on the back. If you can go longer than that, great. But you want it to be like a small, achievable goal that isn't like super hard to achieve. You don't want to start with like an hour of trying to play your keyboard, because what's the likelihood that you're going to actually do that 5 days a week? So like start with 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, grow in that progression. And then eventually you're going to naturally be proficient at the keyboard. That's actually how it worked for me. I started with just like bite-sized pieces. And then one day I sat down to play and I was like, oh, I can just do this. It just flows out of me. I just know how to play whatever comes out of my head now because I built the habit of understanding my instrument and how it was laid out. So that's a little bit of an example of, how you can take a goal and turn it into, one small behavior that would actually improve that part of your day and lead to the outcome that you want naturally. And then, of course, make sure that you connect it where it's reasonable. So if you're thinking, after I do this, I will this, make sure that the connection is easy and logical and you've set up your environment for success. So if you're trying to learn how to play the keyboard or the drums or something, it needs to be somewhere in your house or in your room or wherever that you're going to see it and naturally think, oh yeah, I need to do that thing. Otherwise we like forget and start the day before we even remember that we had a goal. So, if you're trying to achieve any goal right now, if you want to be better at one area of your life, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And again, whether you're here on the live or you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. I just want to be able to support you on your journey. So, if you've watched this long, then you are already like an MVP. You're my favorite supporters. Thank you for sticking this out with me and being here with me this morning. And so I want to extend a personal invitation for the people that have made it this far to join our group Discord, because this is a community of people that we're either all trying to get into live streaming and sharing some sort of educational conversation, like we have a songwriting series and we have a how you can use AI to be more productive series, and we're building a few others that are maybe around more pop culture, or we're going to have a gaming hangout stream. That's the kind of network of hosts that we're trying to create. But we also have specific threads for people that are just focused on their morning routine or are just focused on one of the other skills that we mentioned. So we would love to invite you there. So then after the video, then we can actually have more one-on-one time and group support. So if you like having a community that's working on the same thing and can hype you up or give you ideas, then that's what we're doing there. And the link should be in the description. I would love to have you there. And I think the last main thing that I want to share is a consistent routine is not a routine that you perform perfectly every single day. It's just one that you know how to return to. So we talked about setting your environment up for success. It's easier when your environment is already prepared. And we also talked about creating a low energy version. So your full routine might be drink water, stretch, journal, and plan my day. Your minimum version could just be drink water and write one priority. That's a 2-minute version. And if you do that, you're still 1% better every single day. You can still pat yourself on the back. And once you do those two things consistently all the time without even thinking, then you can layer on the next piece of the puzzle. I also want to remind you what we talked about, which is never miss twice. So I'm going to draw the staircase for this one just because I really liked it. Okay. All right, so imagine that you have a staircase. Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay. All right, so what happens if you're going down the stairs, and then you completely miss a step? You're going to be like, whoop, and you have that kind of uncomfortable, like, and then you catch yourself on the next step, and you keep going. Everything's fine, right? Well, what were to happen if you completely miss 2 steps? Well, then you're like flying down the stairs on your back, and you're probably going to end up at the doctor's office because you slid down and you scraped up your back, and then you're like having back problems and you got to go to the chiropractor and all that kind of stuff. It creates a significantly more of a problem when you miss twice. And at this point, it's like, you're not necessarily building a routine, you're just like doing random stuff. So if you miss your morning routine once, you have one day where you're like sick and you just want to sleep in, or, whatever it is, you forget, right? That's fine. But don't let it demotivate you. Just get back on the horse the next day. So then again, we're not just doing things randomly sometimes, but we're trying to be consistent, because that consistency is what is going to help that routine actually stick in your mind, and it's going to become part of your life, not just something that you do sometimes, right? So try not to miss 2 stairs or 2 days in a row. But if you miss one, don't be so down on yourself. Just get back and try again, and you'll be fine. Every single repetition, every single choice that you make is evidence to your mind for the identity that you're building. So I'm someone that resets and returns. I'm resilient. Or I'm someone that is healthy and takes care of myself. I'm someone that wakes up with energy and can be productive for my family. What does it mean for you? What identity are you trying to create so that you naturally achieve the goals that the person with that identity would achieve? And every single time that you do it, your brain is reinforced to say, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. So keep getting back on the horse. Keep trying. You can do it. I believe in you all. I know that you can. And again, I just want to thank you all for being here with me today. So if you do have any questions, um, any ideas, anything that you're struggling with, any goals that you really want to achieve and don't know how to take the baby steps to achieve it, I would love to hear from you. Whether it's now or maybe you're a little bit shy and you don't want to put it in the comments where everybody can see, you'd rather just get on the Discord and DM me, that's fine. I would love to help you. I would love to have people that are working on similar strategies so they can become consistently healthy, stable, confident, creating the life that they want to create, and working together to do that, supporting each other and catching each other when we're down. And then we might even use some of your examples on future episodes and future conversations, because I'm going to keep continuing this series on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today's action step is to choose one reliable anchor. So that's one tiny behavior that you're going to already do naturally. That's your cue. And then add one tiny behavior onto that. So you only have to choose one thing you're going to do differently, one step that you're going to take. Now, I would encourage you to also prepare your environment. So if your goal is to drink more water every day, set yourself up for success, fill your, at night, maybe you already have a habit of making dinner. So while you're making dinner, you fill up your water bottle and go set it by your nightstand. So then in the morning, it's a lot easier for you to remember, when I wake up and check my phone, I'm also going to look over and drink my water. So think about what that one behavior or goal is that you're going to do, and how you're going to return to it consistently every single day. And again, don't try to redesign your whole life in one day. Choose one habit stack and practice it at the next natural cue, and then notice what felt smooth or what needs to be simplified, and then you can try again. Oh, thank you. One takeaway is that daily routines are important in daily life. Yes, exactly. It's crazy how sometimes these small concepts make a huge difference in who you become as a person. And I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. When I was a kid, my life was a little chaotic, and one example was my room was like a crazy mess all the time. Like all the time. You walked in and you're like, whoa, there's no floor space here. I don't even know how I'm supposed to get into your room. And my friends would laugh at me, and they would also come over and help me. And we'd have these big, deep cleaning parties where everybody was all hands on deck. And does that sound familiar to you? Because you guys have been there, where you've been to my home and you've seen, okay, you're still like a whole adult and your house is like crazy, right? Because the habits that you have when you're a kid transition to who you are in life. And I've had to work really hard on how to break that, how to be 1% better every day. Like, I go to therapy to try to get help for that because it's important, you know. Like, I'm trying to be a mom, I'm trying to be a good wife, I'm trying to be a better person. Like, it's time to leave the bad habits in the past and replace them with good ones. So it absolutely makes a difference what kind of daily routines you have, no matter how old you are. Absolutely. So I really encourage you to like learn from my mistakes and learn from my past and my history, and so then that way you don't have to have the same experience that I'm having. So thank you all for being here today. You know, your routine is not like a test of whether you're disciplined enough. It's just a path that you're trying to make easier to walk every time you use it. It's just a path that you're trying to create so that you can get to your goal, whatever that is. So we will be back hopefully on Friday. I am going to try to get to that 10 like goal that we had. So if you're still here and you haven't clicked like on the stream yet, then please remember to do that and share it with somebody you know, a friend or family member or something like that, because every like is a vote for, okay, we actually like this content, we want more of this, or good job, Melanie, you're taking care of yourself, so like, we're proud of you, do more. And then that'll inspire me to get up every day and keep planning these episodes and trying to start my day more productively. So I really appreciate your support. Again, remember your takeaway, the thing that you're going to try, one thing that you're going to do differently, and then feel free to report back and let me know how it goes when you're back here on Friday. So thank you, everybody. Now I have a special close today. I had created like a theme song for the show. I actually really like it. I'm proud of it. So if you want to stick around and listen to it, feel free. But otherwise, that's all we have for today. So thank you. I love you all. I love my family. Thank you for being here. It means the world to me. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Take one deep breath. Let good energy in. Feel that spark under your skin. Refresh your mind. Rebuild your momentum. Reclaim your life. One small win today, then another, then three. Tiny steps make thunder. Progress comes free. You're still alive, so take back your life. Take one deep breath. You're still alive, so take back